Decisions determine outcomes. Decisions determine outcomes. Not the past, not what's going on, not things that are gone and will never be here again. The decisions that we make today determines the outcomes. Okay? And when it comes to being a powerful real estate entrepreneur, the decisions have to be pointed towards having conversations and making offers. Conversations and making offers. Don't overcomplicate this. So when we're starting in this and we're going after our first deal, that's like the first milestone is getting the proof of concept, getting that first deal done, making some income from your efforts, from going out there and having conversations, quality conversations with property owners and making offers. Okay. And then we get that first deal done and we know that we can do this. And then we start getting that consistency so that we can fire our boss and go full time in this business. Right. And once we go full time, this is when the floodgates open up, right? This is when all of a sudden our attention is focused on this and we're building up our pipeline of opportunities and we're really getting the wind behind our sails and we're getting pushed forward and things really start going. And then we have to make the decision. We have to make the decision to go to the next step, to be an actual business owner. Because when you fire your boss and you're doing everything and you're making all the calls and you're doing all the follow-ups and you're pre-qualifying all the property owners and you're going in on the appointments and getting the contract signed and then you're selling that contract to a cash buyer. You're doing all of those things. You're a highly paid self-employed. Okay? You're not a business owner yet. But it's really important that you follow the steps that I'm about to show you in the chart we're about to pull up. And this is going to help you from backsliding back into having to work for somebody else or having to create a business where you start replacing yourself. And then all of a sudden you have to go back into those roles because you didn't set it up right. And I'm gonna help you to be able to structure this so that once you make the decision, once you're at a certain level, you keep continuously going on to the next level and not go 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, because that's what happens. There's so many people, like 85% of the people that quit their job go back to their jobs because they don't follow this instruction that I'm about to give you. All right. So we do our first deal. We build consistency. We fire our boss. We get into this business full time. And then we start building out our team. We start firing ourselves from specific roles. And there's 7 steps to this. So check out this chart right here. Boom. Take a screenshot. Okay. This is working in it to working on it. And there's 4 main little categories: administrative work, lead generation, conversion or the acquisitions, the sales side of this business, and your exit strategy. Okay, selling your deal, the disposition, where you're matching up these contracts to your cash buyers. Well, look at level 1. This is where we start. We're doing everything. We're doing absolutely everything. We're working in the business. We're growing it and we're building it and we're getting powerful and we're getting experience, but you do every single part of it. Right? And this is where you need to live until you make $30,000 3 straight months. $30,000 3 straight months. And then you're allowed to go to level 2. Why? Because you should know how every part of your business runs. Why? You should have consistency so that you can feel comfortable putting the financial future of the people that work for you and work with you in your hands. That's what happens when you hire people. It's a huge responsibility and it comes with an incredible amount of leadership that you have to develop. So if you're in your hustle season and you're in level 1 and you're doing the paperwork and you're generating the leads and you're converting those and you're working on your skills to be really good in front of property owners and you're selling these and you're really good at communicating with cash buyers, guess what happens with the people that join you? They become really good because they know that you've done this. They know that you know what you're doing. They feel confident. And when you feel confident and you know that you can do each and every one of these roles, guess what? You can recruit A players. People are like, oh, no, I'll just hire a VA for $5 or $7 or do this and that. It's not going to work. It's not going to work if you haven't done this business. Now, you could find talent. They could be A players that you pay them $5 to $7 an hour. Some people do that. It's not really the hourly thing. It's more your experience of knowing what is an A player. And you're not going to know that just from theory. You need to be in the dirt. You need to be in the grind. So that first level is you. The next is you take the administrative work off your plate. You get a virtual assistant or an assistant that's going to do the administrative work. But look at you. You're still in it. Level 3, oh, okay. Now we're bringing on some people to make some calls. Now we're bringing on some people to help you with your lead generation. Now you're hiring people to send out text messages and respond to that. Now you're doing that, but you're also still in it. You see that yellow box? It says you/outsourced, and you in conversion and you in exit strategies. The next level is when you start getting some help because you've got so many leads coming in that you get a junior acquisition manager. And all this person does, their role is to warm up the leads and give you hot leads so that you can go out there and close them. Okay? That's their job. They're going to go and warm up those leads. And they're going to be the people that are in the office all the time on the phones, and you're going to be the one out in the streets on the appointments. You always want somebody in the office making calls and somebody out in the streets meeting with these property owners. Okay? It's absolutely critical. That's going to keep your momentum going, because if your acquisition managers have to stop their lead follow-up and you have to stop your lead follow-up to go on appointments and drive all over town, it's going to slow down. You're not going to get to as many leads as you want to. And you want to make sure that it's a floodgate of leads in your pipeline. All right. Next is you're still doing the calls. Look at you. You are lead generating all the way to level 6, but at level 5, it's starting to get close. Now you've got somebody that is doing junior acquisitions and acquisitions. You've taken sales completely off of your plate, but you're still generating the leads. You're still making the calls. You're still sending out the text. You're still responding to those, because it's the last thing that you want to outsource on this in the lead generation before we get to dispo. You got to stay in this thing until you can get a lead manager in stage 6, but you got to stay in this. And you're not going to want to. This is the biggest mistake that everybody makes. They want to outsource lead generation right away. Don't do it until level 6. Develop your acquisitions. Develop your sales. Have all that going on. Make sure that that's really, really, really tight. And stay in the saddle. Keep generating leads. You need to know what are the best lists. You need to know what are the best deals. Where are they coming from? What's going on? You got to build up that skill of generating leads. It's something that'll stick around with you forever. And then beautifully at level 6, you replace yourself. The lead manager comes in and you outsource all of your lead generation. Now, the last thing you're doing is selling deals. And then in level 7, this is where you're working on the business. This is where I'm at with my business. I'm looking at what's going on in my business, and I say to myself, how do I rainmake? How do I make sure that there's more quality leads coming into my team? How do I make sure that we're selling our deals for the most amount? How do we make sure that we're staying up to date with our dispositions process, and we're going out there and we're building really great relationships with cash buyers? I'm bringing that to the table. I'm bringing all the systems to be able to send in a bunch of leads, whether that be pay-per-click, whether that be TV ads, whether that be direct mail, whether that be text messaging or the TTP calls, the cold calls, whatever it is. I just need to load up my team with leads and make sure that everything's running smooth and pay these guys really well. And here's a big tip. So you guys got that. That is the 7 levels. That's the process. That is your roadmap that you follow for hiring and scaling and growing your business. Stick to this roadmap and watch how you build a long-lasting business.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So, and Matt, can you pull that up again, please?
Pull it up, Matt. Yep.
So at level 3,
yep,
right, we start to outsource our lead gen. So for example, if we're cold calling, we could outsource that to, in your business, you outsource your lead gen to call motivated sellers.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But you're still involved as, I'm assuming, the leads manager, where you're involved in recruiting, training, and managing and making sure that the lead volume is quality, quantity.
Yes.
Right. But you're not necessarily making all those calls every day. You've outsourced that, but you're making sure that it stays healthy, strong, et cetera. Is that right?
I'm still making calls in this as well.
Got it. Okay.
For sure. I mean, it is outsourced, but I'm still in the saddle. I'm still making those calls. I'm still organizing it 100%.
Got it.
Listen, I don't want to let go of the momentum that I've built and the skills that I've built talking to property owners, especially if you're getting started, especially as you're building this out. So I hired a guy, Edwin, and I hired Phil, and they were in the Philippines, but they're Americans living abroad. And I would still be making the calls. They were still making calls. We were still all making calls. They wanted to hear what I sounded like on the phone. They wanted to know that I was making those calls. It gave them more confidence. But yes, every call that they had that was over 3 minutes, I would audit and make sure that their skills were getting stronger and stronger. And that is absolutely critical when you hire somebody that's going to be making calls with you and then for you at some point, that you audit their calls that are over 3 minutes. Yep.
Are you pre-qualifying those leads afterwards after they come in, or how does that process work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the part of the lead follow-up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's part of the lead follow-up process, is making sure that you're pre-qualifying, you're following up with them, and you're setting the appointment to present your offer.
Cool.
Yep. Awesome. And so that, guys, that is the 7 steps to follow. Pull it up one more time so that everybody can have that. And guys, I want you to ask questions. That's what this show is all about, right? But this is the roadmap to follow for working in your business to on your business, but you got to earn it. If you jump to level 7, which people do, they jump right into this business and they try to hire everybody here. They waste $100,000 hiring people and getting everybody going and trying to throw leads at them, and it doesn't work. Right?
100%.
It doesn't work. Follow this plan. You got it. Absolutely incredible. Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. live show, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I am telling you, if I could do this, so can you. I'm joined by the incredible Mike Mahoney and Rafael Cortez, and we're here for 4 reasons. Number 1, to give you the instruction and tools to go out and implement into your business right away. Number 2, to answer the questions that you have, any challenges that you're dealing with. Number 3, for you to squad up in the comment section. I want you to treat it like it is a meetup that you're going to and that you're connecting with people. So make sure everybody knows where you're doing business. And number 4, we want to ring this victory bell and celebrate and recognize you for going out there and doing something amazing. I don't care if it's making your first call. I don't care if you closed a $100,000 deal today. I want to know about it. We want to celebrate it. So let's crack this wide open. Before we get to some questions, if they're not ready yet, Handra, with the questions, Rafael, you said they're ready? Okay. We're going to let it marinate. Raf, you just said that you've done 43 deals this year. From what? Door knocking?
Yeah, it's something, relatively, it's a very, very new strategy. It's called door knocking.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Revolutionary.
Revolutionary, state of the art.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it speaks to this, the speed of things, the need of speed when it comes to, being out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
With sellers. But yeah,
I thought that didn't work anymore.
It's always worked.
Yeah.
It's always
So talk
worked.
to me about that. Is it a team? Do you have a whole group out there? Who's
we
door-knocking
have a team in place. And I mean, basically they're ready to go out there and pound on doors, right?
Are they pounding on specific doors?
Yeah, I mean, we go after. There's a couple of different lists that we go after. I mean, the typical pre-foreclosure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also, hit probate lists
Yeah.
and whatnot. I think a lot of the good thing about it really is the accountability that's in place. The motivation from the team, right? And I mean, you mentioned it right now. Pay your team well, right?
Yep.
So all of that rolls into the effectiveness of the thing. But yeah, over the last quarter, we've been able to ramp it up and really make.
Are these wholesale deals? What are these? It sounded like you were locking up creative deals.
Yeah, we are locking up creative deals. We're getting a little bit more creative with the deal itself, right? So we're creating seconds and that sort of thing.
Are we talking about you're taking over people's loans?
Yeah, taking over the sub 2 process and then creating a second after the loan and cashing out on that, so that we were not completely, we were able to recover some of the money that's put into these properties.
So explain that to me. So you find these deals, and they're behind on payments or there's some sort of distress. You take over, you take over the property, you get ownership sub 2.
Right.
And then you go out and you market to people that want to live in that property.
Yeah.
And then you create a second. So you go, okay, great. Well, we have this loan that's 200. We put 30,000 to catch it up and whatever else.
Right.
Right. So you're into it 230 and then you sell it for 300.
So we're not selling them. We're creating that second and then selling that second with private money. So almost refinancing that, whatever we put into it to catch up the loan or, whatever, whatever amount that is, and then payoffs for acquisition and all that stuff. So we're into the deal for a certain amount, right? So we'll create a second and we're buying at, of course, wholesale price points where we have equity and all that stuff. So create that second, then cash that out. Somebody else is plugged into it. And then the cash flow allows us to cover that first, cover that second, and then still cash flow the property, building that portfolio up. Right.
And you're renting them?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're keeping most of them. I mean, we've sold a handful of them, but we're keeping most of them.
How do you find people that are Mike and I had a whole team. We had a whole team of door knockers in 2007, 8, 9-ish that were out there, and they were getting a lot of deals. I mean, they were getting a lot of deals from just door knocking on pre-foreclosures. How did you recruit your team?
Word of mouth. I mean, really, it's just referrals from people that we know, people that want to get into real estate. And I mean, I think you said it earlier too, like people have to be hungry, right?
Yep.
There's hungry people out there who are in the, solar sales, but they want to move into something bigger, right? So it's almost, it can often be like a stepping stone, jumping into this gives them exposure. Now they have the backup of a company and a track record, people who actually know what they're doing, guiding them through the process. So, I mean, I think that's attractive in itself. And then, I mean, they're making good money as well because they get a chunk of the.
I just want to mention real quick. So we used to knock foreclosures. Our team did. You guys are crushing it this year with knocking. I heard pre-foreclosures, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people knocking pre-foreclosures. One of the most important things to give you an edge there is speed to lead. What that means is as soon as that information becomes public, right, your guys and gals got to get to that door and talk to those people, oftentimes before they've even been served notice, right? That's what's going to give you an edge. If you're out knocking old data, going to be really tough, right?
Yeah.
And have a leave behind. Have something on there. We did very well. They had like a notice and it had like a number on it that would just say, a notice of the foreclosure number. They would put that in there because there's a file number and put that on the door. And that was really powerful. And then they went and just got, and I've done this. I've done this when I was knocking doors, is we would just put a Post-it note that said, call me with my number and people would just call you. You would put it right on the door or on the garage or whatever it is. Yeah. You just say, call me. And then they call you and then you start having a conversation.
The key to that note, and I've tried 1,000 different versions of it.
Yeah.
A and B and C, D, and all kinds of testing.
Yeah. The
simpler the note is, the more calls you get back. Like you wouldn't have to get all professional. I used to leave letters, like pre-printed letters, and then I would just sign them, and they looked all pro. Got no calls from that stuff.
I had I had
notes,
door hangers.
Calls all day.
I had door hangers that were like really professional, and I got it done at Kinko's, and it was like, oh, download this door hanger. I found it like online, like some coach at the time, like way back in like 2012 or 13 said, oh, these work amazing. And I would put all these out and nothing, absolutely nothing. I'd go with literally a $2 Post-it note. And I would get the ones that are like 5x7, like the rectangle shapes that have the lines on it. And I'd say, call me, number, boom, stick it to their, and get the real sticky ones. There's ones that are more sticky than others. Yeah. Javier, here we go. Had a great time with all the rhinos at the summit. The energy was high. It was absolutely incredible.
It was an incredible
incredible event. Yeah, it was phenomenal. I'm still feeling it. Yo, happy to be a part of the Rhino Tribe. Joshua, welcome. Absolutely. You're in the right place. I'll tell you that. Man, I'm telling you, and I told Mike the support call that I had with the group yesterday was just off the charts. So much love. So much love. It's just it's overwhelming. It's wonderful. Amazing Woodcrafts. How can we get this blueprint? Thanks. Well, a couple different ways. I mean, we have in our mentorship, it's a whole course We have a course on this scaling. And so you can certainly join the Rhino Tribe. With that, I would just take a picture of it. I don't know if we have the actual image as a download in the Academy, do we?
We don't.
Okay.
Yeah, once this actually, you can watch the recording of it, take a snapshot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So that would be the best, amazing. And then anybody that's the rhinos that are on here watching it, it's in the course, along with Todd Toback's No Limit Sales course is now in the mentorship as well, and that's
crushed
bananas.
it too at the event.
Yeah, absolutely bananas. What are your thoughts on companies that provide this for you compared to hiring help yourself? I don't know any companies that are just going to find you all the best talent that are going to stay with you forever. I think that's something that you would have to build, but maybe not. Maybe there's some recruiters. Maybe there's some really good. I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like people go through and they filter out all the personalities. And I've done that. I've been through that, and everybody has quit. Yeah, well, not quit because they didn't like our company. Quit because they started their own company. So, yeah, I always found that I want to be a magnet for like my group. To feel comfortable coming in. And that's why my college roommates are my acquisition manager and disposition manager. The lead managers there, Jeremy, my disposition manager's wife. Chad, we did recruit off of LinkedIn. We got Chad, my junior acquisition manager, who's just absolutely phenomenal.
Chad's crushing.
Him and Ryan have locked up 4 deals since the event. That's 2 days. They're going bananas. Good deals too. These are
plenty talent out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you start talking to people that somebody who gives you a good smile, I mean, treats you well at the restaurant that you go to all the time. You know what I mean? Like start having those conversations.
But don't you feel like you being louder and having your podcast and just posting to social media and everybody knows what you do, it naturally brings people from that to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, we have to put those feelers out somehow, some way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one great.
Well, you get loud and you document your journey, and when you document your journey, people get excited about it and they want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And especially if you're going in there and you're doing the work and you're showing them, oh my gosh, I lost this deal, or oh my gosh, this call was really tough, or oh my gosh, this appointment was disgusting, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Then people just are like, wow, you're doing something cool. I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then that's how they you naturally build out your team. But you can certainly go a more, kind of corporate approach to it and get a recruiter and get somebody that's going to put the personality tests and do all that. But it never worked out for me. But it could for you. I don't know. Test it. We got a 2-parter. Come on.
Whoa.
Maui real estate, short-term rental market. Awesome.
Nice.
So I hired 3 VAs and am still calling and driving for dollars in the meantime as well, and meeting with sellers and helping them figure out the system and flow and building on that. What do you do after you door knock? I knocked on a distressed property and he said he wanted to sell and then said he was a time traveler and wasn't from this timeline. LOL. Advice on the crazies. First of all, I want to celebrate you and recognize you for growing out your team, but also still being in it. You're a perfect example of what you should be doing. So I'm going to ring this real quick. And then, listen, I've had
all I see there is a conversation about the close of escrow.
Yeah, I have a lot of crazies that we've run across. You have to see if they're just blowing you off crazy, like that's their force field, or are they like real crazy? Real crazy. I would see if there's obviously somebody in the family or somebody that can make sound decisions. If not, then just move on. But a lot of people act crazy because it's like it's their defense mechanism, And listen, maybe he is a time traveler. You never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe he's not from this timeline. I mean, give him the benefit of the doubt, but just see if he wants to sell his property. So, listen, you're going to run across people that are nuts.
Make sure that the numbers are from this timeline.
Yeah. Tell him that's great. Tell him you'll give him what
you got timeline comps.
Tell him you'll give him what it was worth in 1960 or something. That'd be awesome. Hilarious. Ralph, my man. Awesome. Thank you for always providing incredible value. Is there any sign that we need to go back a level? How much should we be making at each level before going to the next? Yeah, I love that you asked this, Ralph. Such a smart question. Ralph is incredible. He's in the Rhino tribe. Yeah, we all were hanging out with Ralph 2 days ago. Ralph, here's the thing. Remember, it's income minus profit equals your expenses. And if you keep that as as your plan, you're going to always be taking the profit home, which is what we want to do in this business. Nobody's going to buy your wholesaling business. It's not like a buildable. You're not going to build up an asset that somebody's going to buy unless you want to get into franchising, but that's a whole other thing, right? So use this as a cash machine to go and buy other companies, or to go buy real estate, or to go put it in the market, or buy assets, right? And so as long as you understand it's not income minus expenses equals your profit, and you keep a minimum standard for the profit that you want, and I want it to be aggressive. I want it to be $25K, $30K, $40K a month that you want out of your business. That's the pacing item for growing your business, is making sure that you're taking the profit home. Because what a lot of people do is their financial thermostat is set to, an average of like take home 5,000 to 10,000. Then you feel really good about that. And then you get to that point, and then you're like, okay, anything above 10,000, I'm going to invest back in my business. And what happens is you'd never grow your income. You grow your gross income, but your personal income never grows because you're not challenging what your profit should be. And I want to pull you up to that 30, 40, 50, 60, $100,000 a month that you make in your business. And I want to give you permission to go after that. Because if you don't, you might slide back into that 7 to 10,000 feels good, but I'm building up my business. It's not building the business. You're just giving your money away. You want to really build your business and keep it focused and long lasting. Make it so seductive, that profit that you want to take home. Because if you don't, you're going to get distracted, and then all of a sudden you're going to start a flipping business and a rental business. Then you're going to go look at, what are these people doing to sell, make money online and do all these other things, and you'll be all helter skelter all over the place and not focused where you should be, which is growing your wholesaling business and making it into a cash cow, pulling yourself out, and then starting other businesses.
I want to add to that. So, Brent, I heard you say that before you start scaling, you need to be making at least 30 grand a month in your business 3 months in a row.
Yep.
And I'm assuming beyond, right?
Yep.
That's really kind of where you need to be baseline, 30 grand a month.
Yep.
Now, I've also heard you train on just healthy margin for your business. It should be at least between 40 to 55%.
Correct.
So if your margin's going below 40%, something's probably wrong, and you probably need to take a step back, a level or two, and see where things are. Meaning, if you make 30 grand at a 40% margin, you should be keeping, as the owner, at least $12,000.
That's right.
Right? Okay.
That's right.
There's also a really good book, David Richter, Profit First for Real Estate Investors.
Yep.
So,
I'll go get it.
Yeah, it's a really good book. I mean, breaks that entire thing down as far as, how to allocate and create some buckets. It doesn't matter where you're at. You don't have to be, a humming at, 15 deals a month to start rolling this kind of stuff out. You can start right now with where you're at. And it's almost like a discipline, right? So it's really gonna tell you where the levels are, and it's gonna give you a good way of understanding of how to see that from the financial standpoint, and how much you really need to be making for you. Yeah,
right here, guys. You could get it on Amazon. It's really great. David put his heart and soul into this.
Absolutely, super
and
smart.
Did a really great job. So this is a must-have for every real estate investor for sure. It'll keep you focused.
Yep.
Yeah. Great question, Ralph. We got a two-parter. Here we go.
Hey, because what's sad when you have these wholesaling businesses that make high 6, 7 figures, and the owner's keeping not a lot.
Well, it's vanity numbers. I mean,
listen, I tell this story because I think it's really important. A couple local real estate wholesalers making $3 million, $4 million each year, netting 10%, right? So they, between the two, and we were out to dinner at Steak 44, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and they were telling me that they're getting 10%. What should I do? Blah, blah, blah. But they're making all this, money, but they're not keeping any of it. and they're each, I mean, it was 300,000 that they were splitting between the two of them. They were making 150,000. The guy serving us made more money than these guys did.
Yeah.
And they had all the risk, and they had huge marketing budgets, and it was eating everything up. And there were so many holes in their business because they wanted to scale too fast, too far. And they thought if the gross number that was high enough, they'd finally break through and make $1 million each.
Yeah.
But the way that they had it structured, there was no way to do it because they hired way too many people, spent way too much on marketing, had way too much slippage, way too many holes in their business.
Too big an office.
Yeah, way too. Yep.
150 grand's a nice amount of money, right?
Yeah.
But not if you have a $3 million wholesaling business.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
Austin Fry, seller inherited property from a mother. A mortgage company is claiming she signed a reverse mortgage before she became deceased. Son has been in litigation for 10 years.
Whoa.
How do I deal with this? The mortgage companies keep assigning the mortgage and restart the process. How much is the mortgage versus what you can offer them? I mean, it depends on, so reverse mortgages, they're paying out each month. So how many months did she receive payments for them? What do they actually owe? And if it's been 10 years, I feel like that's not right. I feel like something's wrong there.
Yeah.
I would get the paperwork.
Milk ain't white.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I would definitely put an attorney on that on that issue, because it's I don't know, it's 10 years of that. I mean, at that point, I think the fees are going to be higher than whatever the back due amount is.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. So I would get the paperwork, and I would also see who their attorney is and have that conversation and see what's going on. But an attorney has to unwind that for sure. Daniel, is there an outline for onboarding and training up a new caller /VA? No, not that I put out. There's going to be one in the Rhino Tribe training, and we're working on that. Now, there is certain ways to audit your VA and certain personalities to look for your VA, but I don't have a training out there right now for it. But I am. We're putting it together now. Now that the event's over, we've got a bunch of different training modules that training workshops that we're putting together for the Rhino Tribe. Yep. Jerry, Brent, do you think attending public auctions is a productive way of wholesaling? Absolutely, but not to get deals. I mean, you can, but you got to buy. If you go to the public auctions, I assume you mean the foreclosure auctions or real estate auctions, not like personal property auctions. Go talk to those guys that are bidding down there. They have the best buyers lists of all times. They do, because all of their buyers are conditioned to A, buy property sight unseen, B, be able to pay cash for that property in 24 hours. Typically, in most states, you have to bring in the cash to close that within 24 hours. So it's a great way to build up your cash buyer database.
That's one of the biggest guys in town. I mean, buyers in town. That's what he does. He actually builds a buyers list that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you talking about Spencer?
Yeah, Spencer. He's
been
doing
I had him on the podcast.
Ages.
The dude does 5 wholesales a day.
Yeah.
And really, he was up at the 10 wholesales a day.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. He curates all the other deals that everybody else is putting out, and he puts it out on his Twitter. Check out Spencer Caldwell on Twitter. It's crazy. He puts out all the deals in Arizona. It's awesome. Travis, what dialer do you recommend? Batch or Mojo? Boom. Matt beat me to it. Mojo dialer.
He's on it.
Yeah. I mean, Mojo's the one. It's got the smallest learning curve. Now, you like call tools. No, you like
Ready Mode,
which used to be Zen Call.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I just I used Mojo for a while. I mean, it's been a couple of years, and I know they worked on that thing since then. But we just really got really comfortable with Ready Mode. The user interface is not as sexy as Mojo, so it doesn't look as pretty.
Right.
But it's good. We have good deliverability and all that stuff. I mean, just like every other system right out there, you have to learn how to use it for it to be productive. But yeah, awesome. It's a good system as well. But
what happened to our Rhino?
Yeah, it shrunk.
It
how did our Rhino
shrunk?
Needs protein.
Well, it was broke, and then we ordered it again, and they sent us this one.
The
But I
baby.
like it. You know what? It's cute. It's like a little. I used to ask that question to people just to kind of see what kind of what their personalities were, and I was like, if you could shrink any animal down to like the size of a small kitten, what would it be? And mine was always a rhino. I mean, I've been saying that for years.
There you
go. I've got it now. I mean, it's
Pickup advice.
the power
exactly.
manifestation right there.
Daniela, how do you find pre-foreclosure properties? Great question. So, one is public information, right? So you can get it directly from your county recorder's office. You can get it from any title company or closing attorney typically. And you can certainly get it at rhinolist.com.
If you're going to knock pre-foreclosures and you need the freshest
You
data,
need it.
then where would you go for
Rhino
that?
List. Rhinolist.com. Yeah.
Rhino List?
Yep.
So you wouldn't go straight to the...
Batch leads.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it updates on an hourly basis with them.
Where are you getting your stuff
Yeah.
for your pre-foreclosures?
We go straight to the site and pull them up from
The county?
there. Yeah, straight
Yeah.
to the county. But
All
it
right.
depends on the county too. Like not all counties are quick to update their records.
Gotcha.
So
Yep.
yeah, depends on where you're at.
David Himes, he was in the office yesterday. We were making calls to agents. It was going well. He's learning the steps. It's really good. In financial terms, when do you know you've reached level 2, 3, et cetera, and how much should I budget? Again, it depends on what you've built into how much profit you want to take home. But you're not hiring anybody until you make 30 grand 3 straight months, and then you can start bringing on an assistant. And then once you get to the point where your leads are really overwhelming and you get to those the levels where you can bring on, you have too many leads, like your cup is full, you can't get to any more leads, you can't do anything more yourself. That's when you're bringing on your junior acquisition manager, right? That's when you're outsourcing your calls or your lead generation. You're still in it, but that's when you start outsourcing it. And then getting your junior acquisition manager going. So it's more of a factor of, you're closing deals, of course, but you're also like overwhelmed with the amount of lead follow-up you're doing.
And you're trying to maintain that margin. And then you hit that ceiling where you just can't do any more work.
Yeah.
And then you got to bring somebody else on. Got to maintain that margin, and then you hit that ceiling where you can't do any more. You got to bring on the next, right?
Yeah. And you'll know, like David, once you get to that point, you'll know, okay, I'm saturated. Like this is the healthy amount of conversations that I can have on a daily basis or leads and whatnot. And then, you're capping out from a production standpoint, like you as an individual. So,
but David's working on his first deal. So just focus on that.
30K, homie.
100% just focus on
30K,
doing what
3
we
straight
were
months.
talking about yesterday. 3 hours minimum calling every single day. That's what's going to really get the momentum going.
Yep.
Awesome. Zach. Hey, Brent, thanks for all your help. So you have a junior and senior acquisition manager. What are the differences in their roles? Yes, absolutely. Part 2, how automated is your disposition process? That's awesome. Great. So yes, I have a junior acquisition manager. That's Chad, and he's literally on the phone all day long. And his job is to shorten the timeline to decision. So these are people that have made the decision or hopefully made the decision. That's his first filter is, have they actually made the decision that they're going to sell their property? Or is it one of those like, throw me out an offer. How much will you give me? They're just kind of like kicking the tires, so to speak, to see what somebody would offer them for their property.
So they're motivated.
Well, the people that aren't motivated by, they're just like, how much will you offer me? Chad's job is to find out, have they really made the decision they're going to sell?
Got it.
And then he starts pulling the motivation, and then he starts shortening the timeline. And then it goes over to Ryan, my acquisition manager, who's been on the show plenty of times, and I need to bring him on soon. And then he goes on the appointments and gets it locked up and closed. And so Ryan's job is to be in the streets, and Chad's job is to be in the office. And by office, I just mean he works from home. I mean, he's just making calls. And he averages about 52 calls a day. Doing the lead follow-up, and he'll get a hold of about 50% of the people that he calls on lead follow-up. And we're just making sure that they've made the decision. We're making sure we understand their timeline. He keeps pulling out motivation, and he does that live 2 hours a day in our group.
So for example,
on our
if
Zooms.
if one of your say Fran,
Yeah.
right? One of your cold callers with call motivated sellers, if she kicks a lead over
Yeah.
to Chad's job is to I guess, pre-qualify them again, requalify them, and then follow up with them until they're ready to meet face to face. At which point it goes to Ryan, and Ryan's going out nose to nose, toes to toes, right?
That's it.
So junior acquisition is pre-qualify again and lead follow up. And then acquisitions is to be out there face to face getting deals under contract. Got it.
Chad, if you ever played volleyball, Chad is the one setting it up and Ryan's the one spiking it down, right? Yeah. So it's a two-step process and it goes really, really, really smooth. So, then automated go ahead.
On those 52 calls averages that he's making, he's not using a power dialer, right?
No,
just to clarify.
hand dialing.
Just to clarify, that's important. People need to build that connection, that relationship, and it starts with that one line.
Because people text you back. You start building these relationships, and they start texting you back, and you start like building his job. And he does a fantastic. He does a really, really good job of this. Is to build trust. Build the trust that we can help people out, and really discover, can we help people out? Because we've got a few different options. We can give them a cash offer. That's what we prefer, right? We could do something creative if they want too much to see if they're open to that. We can refer it to a agent and get a referral fee because I have a license, or we can do a novation where essentially we're partnering with the owner and we're getting it at a certain price and putting it on the market at a higher price and taking care of the process. So really, when you go to and approach a property owner, there's 4 routes you can take. And if none of those routes work, get rid of them because they don't really want to work with you because they want to do something else. And remember, if they're on Hell Island and they want to get to Heaven Island, you have to figure out what bridges they have to get there. Well, why don't you just list it with a real estate agent? Why don't you just fix up the property yourself and get top dollar? Why don't you just re-rent out the property? All of these things you want to ask them, go through it. We don't care. We're going to talk to so many people and have so many conversations and make so many offers that we're going to get enough through. But we need to know, are we wasting our time with people that we can't, that our service is not any value to them? If that's the case, we can't earn income. Income is equal to the amount of value you provide. So we get rid of them. Joshua, do we have tickets and dates for next year's Growth Summit? We were talking about that. We're gonna get it figured out in May, and it's gonna be absolutely incredible. Cody, will there be an event like this weekend every year? Every year, yeah. And it might be twice a year, but I'm gonna commit to once a year at least. I'm telling you guys, it was absolutely bananas, absolutely incredible how much connection and real instruction went on there and real exposure to big thinking and big ideas. It was awesome. Next year, every single person watching this needs to be at the Growth Summit.
It is the best event in this industry.
It's the best.
No
it's not even close. Not even close. Yep. Awesome. Dimitri was there, flying down from London to Belgium, almost home. Brent, any books on courses you recommend to select talent as a VA? Yeah, I'm telling you, Versatile Selling is an incredible book. It's real thin. It's real dry. There's no stories. It's not like a parable. It's a rough read, but the whole book is highlighted, and that helps you understand personality types. And I did the DISC test for Fran, who made us over $800,000 last year, and she's she's an engineer type mind. And that seems like it's like, oh my gosh, that doesn't make sense. Like, how does she have so many conversations and be able to do that all day long? Or an engineer type's kind of more quiet and low emotion, and they can't really get to it. She loves the structure, and she loves getting paid hourly. And so as long as she knows I can put 30 to 40 hours in and I'm going to get paid, she's been with us years, and it's been phenomenal. So
I used to think you just had to find a really expressive person.
Me too.
Right?
Yep.
But then after seeing Fran, it's like, man, when you take an analytical person that hunkers down and says, okay, going to make this happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
One thing to call out there too is it's 2 different hats, right? You have 2 different roles. Cold calling is different than closing.
Yeah.
So the personalities that get plugged into those, they tend to be, again, cold calling, you have the ability to have a lot of structure. And in closing, it's a little different because you have to adapt to the to the space, the situation. It's more volatile. You have to meet people at weird hours, and the structure is not necessarily there. So it's different things.
I would love to do like a personality live show, but I don't think anybody would come and watch it.
I'm on the fence about personality stuff. I feel like people use it as a crutch, to make an excuse that they can't do something.
Right.
And yet we've seen whether it's analytical, expressive, amiable, driver, if you're really committed to figuring something out, you can crush. I mean, it's
while we're on the topic, you know what most of the assessments and the personality stuff out there misses? Classical conditioning, learned behaviors. Like that's why people adapt. We can adapt to anything, right? And we come wired out of the box with certain, strengths and whatnot, but we learned a whole bunch of other ones while we go through the process. It doesn't mean that we can't, come in and roll those in.
An example, Luke is a great cold caller.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's an analytical.
No.
Right? But him and Fran, both great cold callers, but they go at it in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Well, Luke is an expressive driver. And I love him. He did a lot of great work for me, but I knew he was going to start his own business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens with a lot. Well, first of all, a lot of expressives, let's just be honest, are kind of flaky, right? They'll just kind of like, whatever, the wind's blowing.
Shiny object, let's go.
And I do that all the time. Not the flakiness. Well, when I was younger, certainly, but like it's just you get excited about all sorts of different things. You got to stay focused, and you learn that over time. Or I certainly have. And then drivers, they're going to start their own business. I mean, they're just they're hardwired. They want to learn what you have, and they're going to go and they're going to do work with you. But then what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? And I think most entrepreneurs have that batteries included type personality. So, and amiables just can't deal with a lot of rejection. So the best personality type is those analyticals. And you get an American living abroad where there's not a lot of opportunity and they have a lot of motivation. Fran is a single mom. You know what I mean? That's her thing that really keeps her going. You know what I mean? And so if you live abroad and you've got responsibilities, there's not a lot of opportunities. So what are you going to do? So you just you focus on that she loves working for us because she can focus on doing this job and she knows that it's going to be here for a long time. Yeah, awesome. Jessica, hi Brent. I've been following and love your content. Can you talk about scaling a virtual wholesaling business if you do not live in the area? It's the same process, Jessica. You just need to have boots on the ground for certain things. And you can get boots on the ground pretty easily. I would highly suggest, and I'll let Raph rip here because he does it more. You're in a lot more virtual markets than I am, but having a real estate agent that's boots on the ground there for you that can go and represent you, and they're dressed well and they're well groomed and they know how to have conversations with the property owner is really key. What do you think, Raph? What difference with this? Matt, throw it up one more time. The 7 steps.
No, I'm definitely boots on the ground. You got to have somebody there to meet your seller if needed. A lot of people don't know, they're not friendly with technology, right? So email and all that stuff intimidates. They want to have that human connection. So boots on the ground is always huge. The first people that we reach out to, it's either people who are wholesaling, getting into wholesaling, they kind of understand it. Awesome. We have to build trust with them, or real estate agents, right? Newer real estate agents are huge. If you're looking at scaling, I'd put like an asterisk next to the scaling part. Look at the markets, right? Understand whether or not that market can feed you for a while. And what the activity is, that market growing? Is there people moving into the market? Is there people leaving the market? You have to do some decent research when it comes to the flow of deals in there. Aside from that, I mean, pull a list, right? For example, this is exactly what we did in Indianapolis. And the first 3 weeks we were up to 6 deals in Indianapolis. 4 of them already sold. 2 of them are still pending to be sold to buyers. Yeah. But the same thing, same process, right? Pull the list, plug a cold caller in, just from the team, somebody who we already know that person, we know they perform, and then start funneling the leads. Right, you can still work them from your central operation. When the need arises, then you send your boots on the ground over to that person. But it's I think we try to make it harder than it really is when it comes to virtual stuff. Do some research, boots on the ground, and then roll with what you have.
Listen, 90% of this business is done with this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 90%.
For sure.
I mean, if Ryan can lock it up just with a conversation and a DocuSign, he will.
Yeah.
Now we get bigger deals and he gets better deals meeting people.
Yeah.
We just do. I think that's the secret to our big deals is we go out there and he's really understanding what's happening here.
Right.
Really like and people engage with him because he knows how to go in there and put them first. And he's like, I want to make this as smooth as possible for you. What is your goal? What's important to you about the buyer for your property? And then that just opens it wide up and you're meeting with them face to face. It becomes like a relationship as opposed to just like a business deal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. One thing that we also learned through the process of virtual wholesaling was we wanted to do everything that we do in our market in other areas, right? So if an opportunity comes up, oh, that's a really good flip. Let's see if we can flip it. And then next thing you know, you're caught in a whole mess of things when you don't understand the market that well. So for us, we go virtual. The only thing we're doing is wholesaling. Like that's what we pitch. We keep it super basic at that.
That's so important.
And
so you've got local boots on the ground.
Yeah. In actually in 2 markets we don't, and we're kind of we haven't gone like neck deep into them, but we've closed deals. I think we're at 3 or 4 deals that we've closed in those markets without boots on the ground. So it's also doable, right? But if somebody wants to sign a contract, you can always send a notary out, mobile notary and whatnot, but there's always ways to work around it. My advice is, if you can build a relationship to get boots on the ground, do it right out of the gate. If not, cross that bridge when the problem arises. Mm-hmm. Send a notary out. Send somebody who you can trust, hold accountable to the contract or running for pictures and that sort of thing. You'll be surprised on how willing people are to cooperate with you in terms of helping you getting the deal done what they want to sell. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Pooja, Daniel. Wholesaling has taken 9 to 10 hours of my life daily. How do you do work-life balance in this business? I have family too with little kids. There is no balance. And this is a Tom Kroll thing. There is no balance. You're going to always be thinking about it. Your business is like you're another child, right? And you're growing and you're developing it and it's always on your mind. But there is harmony. Mm-hmm. There's harmony. You can build harmony in when you have conversations with the family, when they understand what you're trying to achieve. And I will tell you this, and I think that this goes often unnoticed and untalked about, is when your children see, and you do a great job of this, your kids are always around. When your kids see you providing value and to going out there and building a business and being on the phone and communicating, they see that impacts them. They see that you're out there doing something special. They see that, oh my gosh, mommy is like really doing something that is going to make our life better. You know what I mean? And that's really powerful. We can talk to our kids and we can do all that. But them seeing us in action is incredible. And then all of a sudden they start picking that up. If they have that in them, some don't, certainly. But if they have it in them, it comes out when they see you doing it. And it's just such a great example. I don't think that it's wrong to pick up your phone when you're at home. I don't think it's wrong. And now listen, if it's like my house and they're crazy loud and they're like swinging from the rafters and everybody's screaming at each other because it's a madhouse, that's a different thing. But for the most part, if I'm at home, I'm taking that call. You know what I mean? And so and just make sure that you're efficient in the time that you're working. In that 9 to 10 hours, make sure that most of that is conversations and offers. Because I think that if you really plan it right and you go 9 to noon prospecting and finding deals, use the morning for finding opportunities, quick lunch, 15 minutes, lead follow-up, 45 minutes to an hour, appointments in the evening and in the afternoon, you should be done by 5 or 6. I mean, very rarely would I ever not be home for dinner. Very rarely. And I never worked the weekends typically. Now, I did as a real estate agent. And that's why I wanted to not be a real estate agent. I wanted to focus on controlling my time schedule. But that's how you do it. And the more proactive you are, the more control that you have, because you're having conversations on your schedule. It's not like you're sending out a bunch of marketing and people are calling you at all sort of different times, and you have to drop everything to take those calls because they're if you miss calls from marketing, you're dead in the water. But yeah, there's no balance. There's only harmony. So find the harmony,
especially in the beginning of your business as you're building. Right, you get to level 7, where you got a big team. Right, different, but especially in the beginning when you're building the thing, harmony. I just want to drive home an example of that. So harmony in my mind is you have a spouse, right, that supports what you're doing, is on your team, gets what you're trying to build, and understands why you may not be home every day, at 5 o'clock for dinner.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's harmony.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Samoa Island Curl. Growth Summit was the shiz. Great opportunity. It was a blessing to meet you, Brent. Hey, Mac. This guy. And the Samoan chick from Southern. Great meeting you guys. You guys are phenomenal. You have a great tattoo. I loved it. Great to meet you guys. You guys are doing amazing things. Keep the momentum going for sure. That's awesome. Thanks for the love. With a pre-foreclosure sale on market, do you make an offer for the unpaid balance amount with the bank or from the list price with the realtor? It's case by case. With a pre-foreclosure on the market, what are they willing to take? I'm gonna offer as low as I can.
Look at days on market.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, does it have equity? If it has equity, then it just depends on what it will sell for once it's fixed up. But typically, a cash buyer is going to look at that deal and be like, "Yeah, I saw it on the market." You have to get it significantly under what they have it listed for, unless you snag it right away. Which typically, at least in our market, that's very difficult to do, because anytime a property goes on the market here, that's a smoking deal. Because I was calling agents yesterday, they had 20 offers.
Yeah.
30. One had 32 offers. David was there. 32 offers on these properties. I mean, it'll say it in the notes. So they're like, if you're not coming with a solid offer, don't even waste your time.
Yeah. If they don't have equity, right, then you have a short sale situation. Which do you even bother with short sales
or a sub two?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't mess with short sales. No.
Okay.
Last question, Scott. In the current market, is it worth building a cash buyers list ahead of time so you can reach out to them for buy numbers, or is it worth focusing all your attention on acquisition? It's not an either or, it's an and, Scott.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not you can only focus on buyer or seller. Do both.
What would you prioritize?
Sellers.
You do first?
I would go after the property owners at this point.
Okay.
Now, before 6 months ago, when there was no buyers, you'd have to find where the buyers are at and what they were buying so that you could focus your efforts. But now that market just disappeared. It's crazy. Now it's back to a seller's market.
Give yourself an hour a day if you want, start scouring, real estate investor groups and that sort of thing. So actually building a buyer's list and finding where to pull from in terms of threads is not that difficult, right? So focus definitely on the sellers, get the deals, and then build your buyer's list progressively. You got to turn that into a habit. So I think that happens every day. It's just part of your business.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. If you got value out of this show, we do it every Wednesday. And bring it in, team. Bring it in, everybody. Matt, Alejandra, bring it in. We love you guys. It's a team effort here. Thank you all for joining us for the Growth Summit. That was awesome. Daniel, Matt, Mike, Alejandra, Raphael, and myself, we all love you. Remember, keep your house clean, protect your health, and increase your value to the world, and you'll live an incredible life. We'll see you next week. Go get a deal. Go get a